Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Yes, we are here in the podcast room, as my tongue likes to stumble for some reason. But no, we are not here for predictions. This instead is going to be a reaction video to a video series that I have seen multiple times because I think it's funny as hell, and one that my brother here has not seen yet. And it's JoCat's Crap Guide to Final Fantasy. Now, for those of you who do not know, we have been playing Final Fantasy from time to time together and separately. I do it a bit more consistently. I have a lot more classes, but before we go too far, bro, why don't you introduce yourself and why not say who you main?
Hello, everybody. And yes, as my brother said, we are not here doing predictions to wrestling event pay-per-views. No, I'm going to be doing a reaction. Yes, this time it is in the digital world. And as he said, I am one half of the Chaos Brothers. My name is B Money, as always, the insect of insanity and strength. The guardian, shall we say, of my family, and also, just saying this now, the master of fucking everything up. And using the word fuck in general. So, yay!
Fuckity fuck.
Exactly, fucker! Ah!
But since we're going to FF, who do you main in Final Fantasy XIV?
I main the Marauder / tank class. I actually just got it done, and now it moved to warrior class. But yeah, I main tank.
And as for me, as I said before, I actually have many different classes and many different character types that I like to use. For me, my tank main is Paladin, though I have also picked up Dark Knight, and most recently, the Warrior Marauder class. In support, I actually have picked up White Mage, who is my main, Astro, or Astrologian, who may end up becoming my main. I'm having a whole lot of fun playing it. And Scholar, who is actually linked with Summoner in the ranged DPS, or I guess caster DPS class. But my main there is Dragoon. Yes, a Lancer that basically is outfitted in the armor of dragons.
It sounds sick as fuck.
You will actually be seeing some of Dragoon stuff in one of the videos here. But with all that being said, what do you say, bro? We get right in and watch JoCat's Crap Guide to Final Fantasy.
Let's fucking do this!
We will be starting off with this Crap Guide to Final Fantasy in tanks. Let's go in 3, 2, 1.
What up, warriors of fartness? I bet you don't have the slightest clue how to play this eyeball-melting anime game. Oh, sure, you probably know that you can beat up enemies by clicking on them until they die, but do you know how to find a static in your FC to help you prog uwu? I bet you don't even know what any of those words mean, so sit down, shut up, and eat your gizzle greens, because I'm gonna teach you what thee mayhap not knoweth, thy noobliness. Welcome to a crap guide to Final Fantasy.
I love the intro to this. That's fucking great.
The tank is the person in the front lines of every group, leading the charge to inevitable party wipes, which is because you are the most important person in the party, having slap fights with the boss since everybody else is way too squishy to handle the puss-pounding patty cake. You'll never see Jimmy's soft boots eyeing up the cloud of darkness with his 2x4 and scriggly tree branch, but how hard can tanking be? Turn on your tank stance, do your 1-2-3 combo, and blame the healers when you die, right? That sounds like somebody who needs their short Q privileges revoked. Firstly, tank stance. You turn this on to start gaining enmity. What's enmity? It's where you shout at the bad guys, "Hey, hit me!" They'll be paying attention to you so long long as you're dealing damage, so you better be dealing damage and not just having a staring contest. If you don't, then they're gonna start indiscriminately charging at the rest of the party like a dog in a movie theater. If you are the designated main tank, or in light parties, the only tank, make sure this is on. If there is another tank in the party, the off tank, make sure this is off, unless there's some other bad guys you gotta pull. If you have conflicting stances with the other tank, they will chuck their shoulder pads at you. As a tank, you should make sure the bad guy's ass is facing the party as often as possible, as indicated by the bright, glowing, half-eaten donut underneath the target. This is so that if the bad guy sneezes, you're the only one getting down with the sickness. And also, if your party has anyone playing any jobs that particularly likes to clap them cheeks, you've provided a spanking space. On top of this, as a tank, you are, by Heideling's blessings, horrible at dancing, which is why you should move as little as possible once you've got the enemy's attention. That way, the party can continue to whap the wumpus without having to chase down the bad guy's glorious booty. Just as well, because you have control of where the baddies are, you control how useful everybody else is. So if somebody puts down a useful AoE, stop fucking running away from it. Now that you have the baddies' attention and are in a nice, cozy poking position, you don't have to worry about anything else, right? That's what I thought you'd say, you dumb fucking horse. Believe it or not, when you die, it's not entirely the healer's fault, just mostly their fault. That little bit of responsibility you have is based on how well you can juggle mitigation. What's mitigation? It's the buttons that make the bad guy's slaps hurt less that you sometimes press once a subscription and never think about again. You ever wonder why you have several of those buttons that all seem like they do the same thing? Well, that's because you're supposed to space them out over the course of the fight, so the healers don't have to sacrifice their entire mana pool in the first one child to get your first.
I don't know if I've done them yet or not. That's the thing.
Yes, you do.
You're gonna feel a lot of shame when
you
you're
are
juice
in
and
the
boss
warrior
still wants to
class.
go
You
about 4
fucking
more
have
rounds.
your
Every tank also
mitigation.
has a press X to not die button
Well,
that can be used to survive any devastating
on my
attack.
thing
Or if you're a really
itself,
aggressive
I
paladin who
haven't
drew every
seen
enemy
it.
in a dungeon
I think
ever
it's
and don't want the
somewhere
healer to
else
hire
that
a
I need
hitman
to
on you.
do.
As for what your limit break does,
And we need
tanks
to
are
get you to
thicker
move
than
it
the average
around.
Disney mom, to the point your honky chonky donkey bahonky extends to the rest of the party, protecting them from damage up to a whopping 80% at LB3. The thing is, unless you're a high-end player, you'll probably be using tank LB as frequently as a good player rolls high on loot. Overall, you have 4 flavors to choose from: punk, grunge, metal, and Christian rock. There's warrior for big axes, big anger, big self-healing, and if you like to do fell cleaves, again and again and again and again. If you prefer more brooding than cruding, the Dark Knight is great for doing your best guts impression. You get a huge-ass sword, goopy black energy particle effects, and the literal best mitigation in the entire game, but it's balanced because they get the worst invulnerability button in the entire game. You press it, and then it makes you die. Gunbreaker is called a tank, but everybody knows it's just 3 DPS in a trench coat, as designated by the fact you get a fucking gun and your swings explode. But you have to be a hardcore gamer, since it requires a lot of cartridges. And finally, the Paladin, who tries to pretend they're a healer and caster, but only when the other healers and casters are looking. But fuck all that, because the most important thing is that you get the motherfucking sword and shield, baby! Try getting behind this wall of holiness, bitch! Now you know how to play tanks, you're welcome.
That is JoCat's crap guide to Final Fantasy tanks.
Oh! I forgot to mention to the audience, my character is what I like to call a midget.
Yes, he is the Lalafell.
And the best part is, his name is... Man, I can hear the music in my head. It is the Chad of Gigas. I am a Giga Chad.
He likes to think himself as one, at least.
Hey, I'm better than a lot of other people.
True.
Okay, next one.
This is JoCat's crap guide to Final Fantasy. Healers. 3, 2, 1.
I love power, and I love feeling powerful. It strokes my biggly wiggly and forces lesser beings to bow down to my awesome might, lest they taste my boot between their gums. Nothing has ever given me the same rush of adrenaline than knowing that everybody has to submit to my whims for their own safety. It makes my brain do goody good chemicals and allows me to feel as though I have control over this truly unfortunate reality that the universe is slowly careening into an eventual heat death, and there's nothing anybody can do about it, as we are inconsequential specks in this cruel and uncaring universe. But none of that matters, because look at this, I can pull my party members into a pit that kills them. I find that hilarious. Welcome to a crap guide to Final Fantasy.
I hope you're ready for that, bro.
Oh, you better not, motherfucker!
The greatest power of all is the power to have control over people's lives, which is why the healer is the most likely party member to have a god complex. Right behind main tanks, mentors, and anybody who's an
a god complex.
You are the most important person in the party, as you, along with the tank, are responsible for keeping the party alive by kissing their boo-boos and slapping the bitch who made the boo-boo. That's right, as a healer, you do have to deal damage as well. Man, but it's called a healer, and healers are supposed to heal, right? Wrong! A healer's job is not necessarily to heal the party, but rather to keep them alive. And yes, there's a difference. There's going to be a lot of downtime between heals, and you bet your afflatus rumpus that you're making the fight take longer than it has to if you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting for your next chance to cast Cure. What do you do when the party's full health? What do you do when the party's full health? Or even halfway up and standing, DPS the bad guys. No, don't pay your sub. But when the fight takes too long, it starts to rub all up on everybody's nerves. And when you hit endgame, it serves you right when the boss will wipe the party, cause you couldn't beat Enrage. Sure, you're for the most part keeping the party alive with a variety of healing utilities, some regen, some shields, but an equal amount of time you're casting those, you're also throwing in some extra DPS when time allows. Remember, DPSing is just mitigating future damage. And if you're able to kill the current wave of dungeon mobs before they deplete the tank's HP, which by the way is going to regen to full by the time you reach the next mob pull anyway, what does it matter how low their HP gets? So yes, DPS when time allows. When does time allow? Well, I know you're scared of independence and thinking by yourself, but that's going to be a balancing act you'll have to figure out. However, my rule of thumb is the minimum amount of HP a party member has to be at is 1. But if that's too scary, for you weedle thingies, ask yourself, will the enemy's next attack make your party member fall on their ass? If yes, heal so that it doesn't. If no, time to become a glare mage, motherfucker. As long as they're alive and you're clearing the content, you're doing your job right. There's one caveat to doing your job right, and that's that everybody will hate you for it. Literally. By healing, you start to generate a lot of aggro from the bad guys. So if you ever decide to heal before mob pulls in dungeons, it's important to stick close to the tank like an ERPer sticks to Vieira's wearing 2B thigh highs. Especially if you throw on a regen and suddenly 800 mobs crash through the wall with a How to Fry Fairies cookbook. You can still do it, but you should know what you're getting into. Like live streaming and hoping that anybody will watch. As for your limit break, we heard you like
that's something I'm gonna be doing.
Heal while you heal. Unfortunately, you won't be using any limit break aside from LB3 because LB1 and 2 just heal the party, and you already have plenty of band-aids and popsicles to do that on your own. LB3, however, is so potent in healing it resurrects everybody in the party back from the dead instantaneously. But they will have to do the thriller afterwards, so it's best to be safe for when you at least have enough people to make a backup dancing crew. For the flavors of healer, we have 3 boomers and the new kid on the block who bought a Glock and has a TikTok. The white mage is the most straightforward. You heal when a buddy is hurt and you attack when they're not. Just about everything in your arsenal is all about feeding them so much it'll make an inflation artist blush in embarrassment. You're also equipped with the best AoE skill in the entire game and the ability to never run out of mana unless you're really, really bad. Best of all, when your buddies get hurt, you can heal them to harness their blood for the blood lily. But let's say you want to play white mage, but you have readings and star signs like a suburban woman in her mid to late 20s. Astro is probably for you. You draw cards that will enhance the abilities of your party members, and you fill the arena with enough space dust and constellations that you'll need 5 layers of sunglasses to see. Taking this job will also teach you how to build a bomb. Don't worry, it's friendly. Scholar is a weirdo who used to hang out with all the bad DPS kids, but decided to turn their life around when they met a nice girl who supports them in their new hobby. Only problem is she knows nothing about your hobby, and you have to keep correcting her on fandom trivia. They're all about putting shields and defensive buffs that protect the party from taking damage in the first place. That way they can guess what? DPS even more. Also, your girlfriend can get thick. And finally, the new kid on the block, the Sage, a scholar who decided to
that part sounds familiar, doesn't it, bro?
Lasers! Like Scholar, they also put shields and protective buffs on their party members so they can spend more time shooting lasers! How do they do this? After seeing Alphino change to the job, my guess is the Nullists are liquefied carbuncles. Rest in peace, Carby. And now you know how to play
Carbeans.
You're welcome.
Oh, man. The guy's good at comedy.
Oh, it fucking is.
The stuff that he's talking about actually is good knowledge to have. It's an actual guide, but it's not
taken seriously. But at the same time, it's taken seriously.
In-depth guide. It's not an in-depth guide. He gives you good stuff to use, but he doesn't go in depth like
tips and tricks
videos would. Essentially, basically he gives you the basics of everything, but in a very comical and fun way.
Sense.
But anyways, it's time for us to go on to the crap guide to Final Fantasy DPS. And yes, there is many different kinds of DPS in Final Fantasy. But yes, I just burped. Deal with it, people.
Ew, you're such a pig.
Suck my dick.
No, thank you. I'll leave that to someone else.
But this is his crap guide to DPS in general. Let's start it in 3, 2, 1.
Everybody likes to do damage, and don't pretend like you don't, because I know you're
Oh, I fucking love doing damage. Even in Overwatch, when I was a healer, I would like damage. Must
to do
kill.
massive numbers on the other guys until their numbers are so small they match the PP size of anybody who doesn't commend at the end of a duty. The other members leaving too quickly is no excuse. How do you expect to move quick enough to avoid AoEs if you can't even move quick enough to tell your allies they're doing a great job and that their glamour is sexy? Is that uncharacteristically nice of me? Maybe, but it means I get to steal the LB3 from the only melee in the group. Welcome to A Crap Guide to Final Fantasy.
YouTube just is fucking great to me.
Yes, it is.
Today I'm going to be talking about every job. That's right. What, you thought only the DPS have to DPS? Boy, I could slap you with my overflowing glamour dresser. Damage is the name of the game in Final Fantasy XIV, and the entirety of the game is designed around everybody dealing it, including the tanks and the healers. If the DPS roles are contributing 60% of the damage, tanks and healers are the ones who fill in the other 40. So if you don't contribute, you belong in the garbage chute. So don't get so hung up on the role names. Everybody is a DPS. What I mean specifically is that 1, not only is FF14 a cooperative game, which means any time you waste is not only yours, but also anybody else in your party as well. And 2, every combat feature in FF14 is designed with dealing damage in mind. Healers and tanks get skills that actively promote doing more DPS. Hell, Sage is a healer whose skills actively benefit from doing DPS.
And you heal at the same time.
Enrage is what happens when you overstay your welcome in a dungeon or boss arena and the residents have run out of things to talk about and are just really ready for you to leave so they can finally go poop without being worried that you're going to steal all their old DreamWorks DVDs. That is to say, you're either forcefully kicked out or alternatively they instantly murder you. How do you prevent this from happening? You murder them first, of course, and then you pop in a copy of Shrek 2 so you can watch the castle siege again. And guess what? The later and later in the game you get, the more and more frequent enrages start to appear. And they'll have more and more health too. So if somebody decides they just don't feel like they want to cooperate,
that's gonna be enjoyable when we face it on my side.
Health left and is about to destroy the entire universe. Princess Fiona isn't going to be the only one
who will need a hero. Oh god. Well, I still need a level of my fucking midget, by the way.
But also anyone in a fancy robe or edgy trench coat as well. Now that you know that,
it's been a while.
Dealing max deeps. The first most basic thing is to do your combos. Press a button. See another button light up? Press that one. Congratulations, you have successfully made a combo. So will reap a myriad of benefits from putting damage over time on your target, gaining mana, doing your taxes, or any variety of other additional effects. But mostly, it all achieves the same goal of dealing more damage. Secondly, you want to press these skills that the game labels as abilities and the community calls off global cooldowns, or OGCDs for short. More like OGCDs nuts! I personally call them free damage buttons. They cost you nothing, and there's literally no reason not to press them while your normal cooldown is rolling. But this one has a long cooldown.
No, it doesn't. Shut up.
Shut up.
No, it doesn't. Shut up. The cooldowns in this game are so short you might as well press them because by the time you need them again, they're back up. Not to mention, many jobs require you to press those free damage buttons to unlock even spankier damage buttons. So use your goddamn free damage buttons.
It's free real estate.
The next rule of DPSing is knowing your ABCs. Always be casting! This means mashing away at your keyboard like a tickle monster working double time. More specifically, it means that the best way to make sure you are doing the most damage that you can is to always have your global cooldown going. Even if it means accidentally pressing the wrong skill like the single brain cell that you are. Because if you're always pressing buttons, even the suboptimal one, you are doing more damage than if you weren't. And doing damage is always better than not doing damage. Yes.
I don't know anything about Skate, but
here's a live example with my 2 subjects, Jan and Chloe. They both deal 1 million damage and suddenly the boss flies out of melee range. Jan sits there waiting patiently for the boss to return before she can start doing 1 million damage again. Meanwhile, Chloe's pressing the deal 1 damage at a range button the entire time they're waiting. I ask you, puny viewer, which person is dealing more damage right now?
Yeah, but it's only 1 damage.
Who's dealing more damage?
As if any fight is going to get so close that dealing...
Who is dealing more
damage? I have
sure, it might not look like much, but it's going to matter when they fight the boss that has 3 million and 2 health and they wipe all because the other DPS decided they don't want to press buttons. It's such little DPS
bosses have that.
Now, one of the best things you should do to improve your damage in Final Fantasy XIV is this. It's really simple. I want you to lean in. It's a super simple thing. Here, come close. I'm going to say the thing. Are you ready? Okay, here it goes. Read your tooltips! The little block of text that literally tells you what your skills do. Honestly, you would be surprised how many people queue into an expert dungeon and never realize that can attack multiple targets.
Sadly, I play on controller, so there's
the AoE damage skills, the free damage buttons. The best way to know what your job is capable of is by
but it takes a longer time.
Yourself. So you better read your goddamn tooltips because if I see another player not knowing about their AoE combo and a mob pull at level 80, I'm gonna grab the nearest etherite and bash you so hard you're gonna be teleported to the final resting place of every ERPer's used undergarments. With all that out of the way, you'd think I'd covered everything you need to do to be an ultimate clearing badass, right? Unfortunately, not face, because the final responsibility every single role in Final Fantasy XIV shares is not dying. Oh sure, the healers help, but most of the time your own survival is on you and only you. And that means making sure you do the fight mechanics and don't take avoidable damage like it's got the cheese touch. I'm sorry, are you in the middle of your cast? fast. You want to try and hit that purple parse like the big man you are? That's too damn much!
Wish
You take damage that is avoidable
controllers
means the
had
healer
the
has to
ability
heal you
to
and they're
do what
dealing less
PC
damage. And on
does.
top of that, you get this cheese
Have multiple,
vulnerability stack.
more
For each
than
stack
just
you have, you take more and more
8,
damage until you get one shot when the enemy
commands.
farts in your general direction. All this to say, if you don't avoid enemy damage, you will not only make the healer do less DPS, but you're also likely going to die, which means 0 DPS. And if you still think that's not a big deal and the healers can just res you, each time you die, you get a dunce cap of Shane that reduces your DPS even more for about as long as a red light in Philadelphia. So you better stay alive or else I'm gonna raise you so I can rescue you into an AoE and kill you myself.
I do that just for
To
fun
recap,
as a troll
everybody's
move with
DPS
you.
matters. Press your free damage buttons. Always be casting. Read
Just
your
when
toolkit,
I know
stay
that we're
alive.
gonna
But
be
even if you keep
fine.
all those things in mind, the #1 rule to improve your DPS performance is to practice. Striking dummies are all over the goddamn place, out in the overworld, and even in the yards of some random people's houses in the residential districts. So if you see one, there's no shame in whacking it a few times like you're auditioning to be a dominatrix. I'm sure the neighbors won't mind. Practice makes perfect, and even all the foresight in the world will not fully translate into the doing. So go and do that doing so that one day you too can do the do and make everybody else look like doo-doo because of how good your doing skills are. And with how much doing you'll be doing, maybe someday you too can clear an ultimate and get a shiny-ass weapon of your own to show off to people AFK at the Lindsay Aetherite Plaza. Just know the difference between an amateur and a master is that a master has failed way more
Shiny
times.
weapon.
By the way,
I
get
want
ready for a
shiny
party
weapon.
wipe. Wait, what?
Me and Ari are actually going to be going through and
Congratulations,
doing
you're now better at the game than you were 5 seconds ago. Oh! And now you know how to DPS, you're welcome.
raids at one point. Oh yeah, they also have extremely
finally, my
long
queue
queue
just
times.
No, one of the other party members withdrew. Ah, fuck!
That's going to be giving out some fucking weapons and whatnot. I am going to you can't get them. I can tell you that right now. You can't get them right now. You will need to get going on leveling up and whatnot. But I am going to copy the images to you, and don't worry, everybody. I will be putting the images in the video as well, so that you can see them. But these are the weapons and the type of weapons that I will be going for at some point once we figure out the mechanics for this savage fight.
Shiny weapons.
These are the warriors' battle axes from this raid.
Oh my god, the fucking first one looks fucking sick as hell. But the second one, imagine Chad fucking wielding that motherfucker.
Yes, that is when you dye it gold. The first one is how it usually is normal look, I'm pretty sure. And the second one is when it's dyed yellow.
Both look
That
fucking
is the type of
sick.
stuff. That is this type of stuff that I will be going for.
That's what I want to go for.
And actually, I'm going to show you my tanks as well. The sword and shield that I shall be going for and be trying to use for my paladin. Again, everyone, it'll go the same for you. I'll pull it up. But this is the sword and shield that I shall be trying to go for paladin.
Holy shit, that looks fucking sick as hell.
Yes. The stuff that you can get from the high level raids that you need to be level 60 for my level cap. I am a poor bitch that does not have the complete edition.
I believe I have the complete edition. I
do believe you
have
do.
way
That
too
part.
much work to fucking do.
To be
Sadly.
fair, it's fine. Everything's cool, so.
Jobs suck. Jobs suck, ladies and gentlemen.
But are great at the same time.
True, because they give you money, which you need to survive.
Yes. But let us move on to the next one. The Final Fantasy Crap Guide for Melee DPS. In 3, 2, 1.
Everyone always says you should be a team player, but honestly, I've always felt like the best way to help the team is by crushing whatever obstacle that's in the way with my heavily toned squat receipts. So that's it. I'm not playing for anybody else. I play for me, baby. Any reason the raid wipes from now on is no longer my fault. I only exist to make big numbers fly towards the screen and watch my skill bar light up like a Christmas tree at a rave party. And you bet your precious patoot the progress preventers will be promptly pounded because this potent projector of pain will be peppering those beasties until your pack is paved with enough resulting pellets that every peddler will pray to be pampered by a more palatable pacifist. Welcome to a crap guide to Final Fantasy.
That's called. I forget what he was doing. But he always was saying a word with
Being
P
a
in
DPS
it.
is like being the king
At
of
the
castle,
beginning.
because the way you play,
Thank
taking
you,
care of others is
alliteration.
for bitches. Pay no attention to anybody else's well-being unless it directly affects you, and so long as you're alive
I
and
thought
safe, you can act
that
like
was
anything
what it
bad
was,
that
but I
happens
didn't
around
want
you
to
is
sound
probably
fucking
not your fault.
retarded.
All that brain power instead will be put towards what really matters, your complicated as shit damage rotation.
They
You're
are.
complicated as
1, 2,
shit
3,
damage
healers, 2
range.
damage
I
runs.
mean,
These are
they
where the big guys and gals
kind of
play.
are
Or
when
at
you
least
get
that's
to
what they
the
like to
really
tell
high
themselves,
levels.
since
They're
one
not
of the
that
only
bad for
party
me at
utilities they
60,
have to worry
but
about is pressing the faint
higher.
button once in a blue moon. Their hotbar will more often have dozens of buttons, all
I
dedicated
wish
to
I had.
the melee DPS.
I wish I had that
person
kind
in the
of
party is you are the one
set
on the
up
front
on my
lines inspecting
controller.
the bad guy's anus like it's where all the Hrothgar hats are hiding, while avoiding the enemy's
As a
sprays
melee
of hot
DPS,
poisonous
you like
gamer stain. Not
anal.
only are you going to be up in their grill, turning their cheeks into a ripe tomato while flip-flopping in and out of danger like you're a politician making pancakes, you're also
Oh
going to
my
make like an
God.
adult film star and learn positional. Certain attacks in your damage rotation will require you to land them in specific areas around the enemy target, specifically the rear and the flank, in order to deal additional damage. How do you tell where those positions are? By the massive disembodied titty underneath the target. See, this symbol? That's the front where the tank will be
Disembodied
sucking on the
titty.
sweet milkies that are tank busters, which obviously means this conspicuous ticulus on the opposite end is the rear. What about the flank? That'll be on either side of the enemy. And if you're ever confused as to where each area begins and ends, a useful tip on how to tell is imagine there's a big X dividing each of the quadrants. Or you could just press true north and pretend positionals don't exist like it's an embarrassing memory of that time you did the Gangnam Style at school, unironically. The only time it isn't the case is when
I've
you
done
use a
that.
full ring without an opening, in which case you won't have to worry
I
about
still
any of
wish
that
I
guff,
could
and
grab
you can
that
just sit
video.
there like an off-tank who's actually having fun. Otherwise, between hopping back and
I'm
forth,
glad you haven't.
and running around catching up to the boss whenever the tank feels like doing cardio, your little wall's legs are gonna get so much working out that they'll be thick as the milk from the teats of a whale made of molasses. Which is to say, expect to move a lot.
But what if I'm not
Move
in the right
a lot.
position or the boss is far away?
Just remember the old adage.
Always speed casting.
Even if you're not able to land your positionals, or if the boss is too far away to make a melee attack, be sure to always be pressing your buttons no matter what. Unless you're a monk who has no ranged attack and you have to sit there thinking about how your job will inevitably be
sad.
reworked yet again in the next patch. However, there is another secret
Give us
epic
a
gamer
Hadouken or
option that allows you to
something.
maximize the DPS
Please.
you output at the risk of
Fuck.
yourself as
Yes,
well
I
as
have
potentially
mine.
It's not a
everybody else,
Ryu
but
from
it's usually
Street
the hero.
Fighter.
This technique is
I don't
called
care.
bleed. The funny
Let
thing
us have
about
a coming
AoE
out
markers in
something
Final
for
Fantasy 14
range.
is that they only
Fuck.
ever mark you for damage if you are standing in them the moment they go away. This means that if you're fast on your fingers, you can stand there DPSing the bad guy while soaking in their radioactive orange juice until the very last second, where you backflip out just as the dropkick of doom skims your fuzzy anime hairs and you don't lose a second of uptime. As I said, however, this is a high risk. If your timing is off and you spend just a millisecond too long, you'll be covered in cheese puffs. You might even die, or in some cases you'll have to suffer a fate worse than having to read the entire 24-hour chat log of Limsa.
Damage down.
Oh shit.
It's okay. Nobody's gonna take away your big damage numbers. Papa's here to make sure you don't greed too hard if you're not ready, okay? Okay. As the melee DPS, you also have first dibs on limit break against most bosses, since yours deals the most damage, specifically when they're single. This is because when you hit the limit break button, you're not actually attacking them. You're
Very
showing them
cool
pictures of a happy,
LB3s.
healthy relationship, and nothing hurts more than emotional damage. Just ask Arianje.
That's like, I don't know if you got to that part in the story yet, but that
each one
fucking
is a different flavor of
hurts.
anime and edge. Monk, for those of you who want to go
I
fast,
don't know
having
if I
one of the
have
lowest
or
global
not.
cooldowns in the game means you'll be dealing out
Oh,
punches like you're a pissed off
just
caterer at a
wait
middle school
then.
sock hop. Instead of the traditional combos, each attack puts you in a specific stance. Bird, cat, and monkey. Each one combos into another attack that benefits from each respective stance. Your rotation will be all about swapping stances around more than a kid trying sick moves to impress their crush at a middle school sock hop. You also have perfect balance, which allows you to go freestyle and pick whichever stance you're feeling more at the moment without having to do any of the normal stance setup. If you repeat the same stance 3 times during your freestyle,
Monk
you get
is
a
fun.
purple
I haven't
token on your
used it in a
stylish moves
while,
punch card.
but
And if you do 3
Monk
different
is
stances
fun.
during the freestyle, you get a white one. Do a freestyle with 3 unique moves one more time while you have both a purple and white tokens on your punch card, and you get to turn
I think
it
I've
into
ever
your crush
done
dripping
that.
wet with damage, because for some reason you get to kick them in the face. The only problem is you are the only melee without a ranged attack to keep your uptime. And although you do have a dash that lets you zip around like Goku on a triple shot Ristretto down blend macchiato, if ever you find yourself without a target to punch during combat, you can call timeout on your buffs so they stop moving while you have a little cry because your crush rejected you at the middle school sock hop. Dragoon is probably the most most straightforward of the melee classes and the one most likely to have a tragic backstory. You've got a 5-button combo that swaps between hard slaps and sakura flowers and a handful of buffs that will turn anybody else in the party into your partner in dragon slaying. What kind of dragon slaying? That's up for you to decide, which you'll have plenty of time to do while you're suspended 20 moms in the air, dropping in like a scantily clad human airstrike who's got a date with Nidhogg at 5 and a party at the quicksand at 6. Yes, the Matanga in the room. Dragoon has several damage-dealing jumps necessary to unlocking special attacks in their rotation that will lock you into an animation, which means you're stuck and unable to move out of your location while the boss is just about ready to piss all over the floor right before you land. So be wary when using your jumps, lest you fling yourself right into a danger puddle and perpetuate the tired singular joke the 14 community has for the class.
Are you lying?
Get the objectively best jump
The floor tank memes.
Ninja is great for people who enjoy American football, because for every 10 seconds of excitement, there's a minute of fuck all. Your rotation is all about fitting every goddamn cooldown you can into a small window of time where you make the enemy take more damage. And on top of that, you also have the ability to live out every weeb's dream and do a bunch of hand gestures to cast magic attacks, and also drop down into a low position and run with your arms flopping behind you in the breeze, which Final Fantasy objectively proves makes you go faster. You got 3 hand symbols, and depending on what order you do, you will make a different kind of anime reference. For example, going Chi Tenjin Tenjin Chi Chijin unlocks a secret dark ending of Cory in the house and causes the enemy to be susceptible to bonus damage. But maybe you're facing a mob of enemies who are immune to A-rank powered life forms, so you'll instead have to go Tenjin Jin Chijin Chijin Ten Chijin Tenchi for 3 seasons of Sonic Underground, which will kick sand into their eyes with how fast you'll be running circles around the slowpoke.
Oh my god!
Studying up on what combos do what, but here's a secret cheat sheet. Only the final mudra in the sequence matters. Fuck, it's the skill floor police! Cheese it! Samurai, the job most likely to have a dick measuring contest with a black mage. I'd be careful though, their dad works at Square Enix. This weeb is the most selfish of the melees, as it provides no utility for the rest of the party, and instead acts like the average soccer player, focusing on being the star of the show who gets all the attention, especially when it drops to the floor clutching its knee when somebody sneezes on them. Your attacks contribute to a kink ball, which allows you to shame the enemy in a variety of ways, as your katana is also a substitute for a horny bat. So you remember how the monk has a punch card? Well, you, except yours is your sword and the punches are stickers. You have 3 basic combos, each one giving you a slight buff and slapping a sticker onto your katana. And depending on how many stickers you have, you will get one of 3 different rewards when you turn in your sticker sheet. With 1 sticker, you'll apply a dot that'll last longer than it takes to clean your room. Don't lie to me, I know a majority of my audience has depression. 2 stickers will charge up an AoE around, and 3 stickers will make...
Yes, we have a little cutscene here. Actually, really well done, all things considered. Remember, this is on YouTube, a 9-minute video. And by the way, we're already 7.5 minutes in. It does not feel like 7.
Holy shit, really? What the fuck? It does not seem like that at all.
Who won? The crap guy.
Not Samurai.
Each sticker attack also gives you an additional separate sticker. And once you have 3 of those, you get to do an additional...
Oh my god!
And finally, the Reaper, the transfer student from Garlemald who got the rest to mauled at the fact that
I know
they think
some
they're
people
better
who
than the
play
rest of the
this.
melees. Which I mean they
I
are.
wish I
Don't let
could.
any Reaper hear you say that. It'll go to their heads. Being the darkest and edgiest of melees means that your job gauge is the Dark Souls HUD. Similar to the Samurai, you build up a bar that can be spent on big slaps. And those big slaps give you edgy boy points that can be spent on additional big slaps.
Points.
This time, they're coral blue number 5 semi-gloss lipstick. Once you've kissed enough boys to build up your fashion bar, you get to turn into a spooky ghost. You do the slice. You do the spooky slice. The spooky slice. Now your swings have some spice. You do the slice. It's just your soul that's the price. You do the slice. You do the spooky slice. And now you know how to play Melee. You're welcome.
Yes, he actually made a full parody with this.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
I will say that there are spoilers at the end and whatnot, so just a little bit of a precautionary warning if you look up Spooky Slice for the video.
It's just your soul that's the price. You do the
I love this guy's stuff
You do the spooky slice.
Why?
because it's amazing and funny.
I just said I can see why.
Well, Discord fucked up and had you come through as Y.
Of course Discord fucked up.
What else is new?
Uh,
We love you, Discord,
hi,
but you
gamer
got some
subs.
issues.
Hi, gamer subs.
I'm sure you can recognize one in there.
Shy Lily.
Yes.
The emotional damage meme.
And then just a bunch of other GGs that I don't think are any reference in particular, just the generalized flavors. But yes, this was not. We are not sponsored at all, but JoCat, on the other hand, is. But this is the final one. It's his crap guide to Final Fantasy for range DPS. Let's end this off good in 3, 2, 1.
Quick announcement, I'm partnering with GamerSups. If you want to try out some tasty energy drink flavors, you can get some free samples, and they even ship worldwide. If you like it and want more, use the code JoCat for 10% off.
I need to get more
Every
of
now and
those.
then I get a little bit tired of being counted on to do complex tasks that involve more than it takes to eat a bowl of mushy cereal. In fact, I don't even feel motivated to hear what my allies need of me. I'm just gonna sit all the way over here, enjoying my Lucky Charms. Alone. And if things go wrong, I'll have to rely on the ever-reliable American method.
Guns,
I already see
bitch.
absolutely no negative consequences. Welcome to a crap guide to Final Fantasy.
Okay, for some reason it was lagging on my end,
I'm sick
but
of having to dodge so
Of
many
course.
up-close AoEs. The boss keeps doing them, and I have to keep moving away to avoid
Ah,
getting
the
splatted.
technical
And then I have to
difficulties of
resort to the equivalent of
internet.
throwing marshmallows that will scratch the enemy about as hard as a massage therapist with germophobia. I'm trying to beat them into submission, not soften their tenders. What's that I hear you say? There's an option to give me the ability to do max deeps even when I'm disconnected from the boss like an internet provider out in the country? Of course there is. I was
Not
just getting to
necessarily
it, and I'll
the
thank you
country,
not to
but yeah,
interrupt
it's
me
bad.
again. The physical range DPS, or just range for short. Physically throwing my spleen into the splattering range of the near semi for long is the more mobile and forgiving cousin of the melee, and is the most important person in the party, since you are the least likely to get a commission in the end. And we thank you for providing such a valiant service, as there always needs to be someone in last place. Your role is all about keeping your uptime going, and although yes,
Someone
your
in
role
last
is also
place.
about trying to do that, you have absolutely no excuse for messing up. The gimmick of the range DPS is that you don't have to worry about any positionals or cast times and can run around the arena like an indecisive artist in a Hobby Lobby. You get to stay at a safe distance, and if there's ever a pissy puddle underneath your feet, moving out of the way won't risk you doing suboptimal
pissy
damage.
puddle.
So what's the catch?
From now
Surely
on, I'm
it's not
calling it
scot-free
that.
in this game, as all roles have their stonks and stinks. Tanks have the responsibility of dancing with the boss. Healers have to share gear models with the magic DPS that have been dyed white, and you will have to suffer the nail-pulling drawback known as the range tax. To balance for the fact that you have nearly no limitations on your mobility, your damage will be on average slightly less than both the melee and magic DPS jobs. And hell, sometimes even some tanks with their openers that'll put down
Dark Knight.
bosses faster than PETA when it finds a stray. The range tax, although real, will make a tiny
Faster
droplet
than
of
when
difference in the
PETA
grand scheme of
finds a
things, and if you break
stray.
a range job and feel as though you're being outdone by your peers, odds are you were probably doing badly anyway, and the reason you have trouble jumping over that hurdle was just because your toes were too big and floppy that you would have tripped over every single one so badly anyway, Discovery Channel would decide to make a show about whether or not you're real. Let me summarize. If you do bad, it's a skill issue. Nevertheless, the same
AKA
rules as any
get
role
good,
applies in the
bitch.
fact that you should stay out of the piss puddles wherever possible. Even more so, considering you're wearing Heelys and by all rights should be able to avoid any and every possible puddle and be the nicest smelling at the party, which is important because the healers only have so much nasal tolerance. Lucky for you, each range also has a bottle of perfume to spray that will at least mask the piss smell a bit. The final shared utility in the belt of the Black Man is the limit break, which although does not do as much single target damage as the melee, has the benefit of being able to hit multiple targets in a line like a really violent high-five surfer. The range roster is a trio of performers, each one skilled in a different
dance,
charismatic
gun.
art, and each one a different flavor of slut. First is the
Let's
bar,
see,
where your bow is your
harlot.
harp. Also, your harp is your harp, because with this job you get a bunch of instruments you can play, including these obnoxiously loud drums. You are one of the few jobs with the endangered species known as the damage over time skill, and your main attack involves firing a single arrow repeatedly until a bigger, cooler arrow gets jealous and sometimes asks to be fired too. But not all the time, because it's not like it likes to be shot or anything. You also have a
Okay.
bunch of songs to play that will make everyone in the party hear a remix of their opening theme. And everybody knows when the opening kicks on, you deal more damage. Because you're the one playing them, you also get your own special benefits, you filthy, dirty performer, you. A song that sometimes lets you shoot more arrows when it feels like giving you some, a song that makes you shoot faster, and a song that lets you shoot more arrows when it feels like giving you some, but a little bit different. All this arpeggios to a crescendo into a grand finale where you fire a big ol' arrow. And if you've played all your songs, you have the ability to face roll your piano and startle your party into doing even more damage. I said hit harder! Now hold on to those notes there, partner.
Harder.
For the machinist's main attack, it uses a gun. The most selfish of the range classes, where the name of the game is... and the name is labeled on a box called Your Doom being shipped to the enemy at terminal velocity. What
That
you
might
sacrifice
actually
in
be
party
my
buffs, you
next
make up for
DPS
in
class,
big,
I think.
having 3 giant bullets and a bunch of smaller
What,
high-frequency
ranged?
bullets. Doing your normal 1,
No,
2, 3 will get your gun
machinist.
very
I
hot
got
and bottled
barred
until it's
Archer
riled up enough
already.
to rapid fire its red hot goodness. And if you
Okay.
make sure to toss your special toy into the mix, it can end in an explosive finish. Keep up that momentum, and eventually you can even invite your queen to join in the fun. Hey, I hear she's got multiple frequency settings. All this might make you feel like you're not contributing as much, but don't even be nervous. Lucky for you, this job comes with extra protection.
But you are not some simpleton who can be won over by some flashy lights and pretty songs. You want passion,
I know some
romance,
people that play
a partner
Dancer.
who can live up to your standards.
The dancer foregoes buffing the entire party or focusing on doing its own damage and instead picks one party member, one extra special, extra spicy, extra sexy partner in crime to give a super buff in damage in the form of 2 extra flashy minigames of Simon Says. And then you do a little bit of lending and sending the bodies flying their dying to birdies that give them birdies. And afterwards, it's just a matter of praying to RNGesus to bless your twinkle toes, because from there it's all coin flips all the time.
Who likes
Your rotation is a
gambling?
1 and a 2 that can coin flip into a 3 and a 4, and both of those can coin flip into either a single target or AoE 5.
I've only
which
gambled
itself is a
in
coin flip
Yu-Gi-Oh!
into a
Does that
6.
count?
And once you're in rhythm, your spinnies will kill them that dance in the wind like that million ribbons and kicking and flipping their
The fact that he
carrions
actually does
into
this
your
is
allies so
amazing.
they can annihilate all that's left. Yay, now they're dead. And now
Believe
you know
it.
how to play ranged. You're welcome.
Now you know how to play range. You're welcome.
And that, everybody, was JoCat's crap guides to Final Fantasy. At least the ones that he has out right now.
Holy shit, that was hilarious.
You can see why I like him and his crap guide so much.
Oh, absolutely.
Something that you may be interested to check out on your own, and anyone who's watching this maybe as well. He's done crap
Big
guides
time.
to D. He's done crap guides to D and D also.
Holy shit.
So if anyone wants to go check him out, of course I will be putting his channel in the description. I'll be putting a playlist to where he has all of these, except for Range DPS. I'm guessing he just hasn't put that in yet. But all those will be in the description here. And I'm sure you just sounded like you had a fun time reacting to all of these.
Absolutely. Time you make me reacted to something, I know I'm gonna have a good time. Because my reaction is either gonna be I'm laughing my ass off, I'm cursing you to high hell because of the stupid shit you put me through, or both.
Casino Las Dos.
Sorry, what the fuck did you just say to me?
Casino Las Dos.
I don't
The
speak
little
Chinese,
girl
bitch.
meme. The little girl meme.
Oh, the fucking, oh, I forgot about her. Oh my god.
Casino Las Dos.
How-
Yay!
How the fuck do you know how to say that? What the fuck? You took
It's-
French in college, not fucking
Yes, but-
Spanish.
Yes, but we had to do a little bit of Spanish back in, I believe it was middle school. And then we needed to choose one to actually go into.
I think I chose Russian. I can't remember. Man, fucking, I feel old as shit.
I'm pretty sure I did Spanish just because they wanted something easy.
Lucky fuck.
But anyway, to everyone that has stumbled upon this, I hope that you enjoy this just as much as we have. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you for watching. And bro, our sign off is your call.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, as we always say at the Chaos Brothers YouTube channel, in 3, 2, 1, fuck PC and fuck PG.
You always throw me off by throwing in that second one.
The second one, it's always been, well, I added the fuck PC a while ago.
It throws me off every time still.
Well, maybe you should keep remembering I added it to it. Unless you want me to just get rid of it and just say fuck PG in general.
I don't care, but it makes sense. Blame the healers. Thank you all for watching.
Bye!
Wait, hold up. This is on me. I need to get my mine up and running again. Base capture. You better be capturing all good you like. I'm gonna lock you all down because I don't want to fuck anything up. Thank God for editing. OBS. You got a black box
Hello?
on you.
There we go. I have
Rid
a
of that
box on me.
What the? Fuck you.
Look at me go!
Not that kind, but I appreciate the reference.
That's what me and my dad do all the time.
I just realized that the green screen that you use is the exact same shade of green that I chose for OBS. Let's go.
Say, if I'm not mistaken,
baby.
this is like the green screen just in general for YouTube
I was saying,
Studio.
that's the default green. I'm just happy I was able to choose the default green, so I didn't need to try to mix match.
Yeah, that would have been a
different
nightmare.
colors and try to get it to look good and not like it has two different colors to try to green. I'm like, oh my god, that was
Yeah, that'd be a
pain.
fucking nightmare. But
Anyway, I'm
anyways,
still recording all of this.
oh, fucking, you know what? Just clip this part out and put it as like a fucking blooper reel or some shit.
I might end up doing that at the very end. Or I might save it for later. I don't know. But anyways.